what this could mean for rural China, for rural India, for Native American reservations in America, for the Mississippi Delta, for the remote areas of where all the jobs were lost from coal. You're all of a sudden giving people information. And one of the most important things I think we did in my second term as president in the healthcare front was develop this diabetes self-care program. And all of a sudden, Jack's company could be delivering the means to self-care based on your test. I mean, I think that this is a very big deal. We all want to live as long and as well as we can. And Craig Venner was here. We were joking about whether we'd make it to 100. But in the meanwhile, you want to keep people healthy. And if they're sick, you want to intervene early, not late.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at, the ability to engage with this information, we have a $4 trillion healthcare problem in this country. 20% of it is type 2 diabetes, which is reversible. And we have 90 million Americans who do not know they are pre-diabetic. But access to information and the ability to engage with that information is the foundation for being able to change those outcomes and cost, right?
One more fact, and then I want to call on Jack. You founded this company 12 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Tell them how old you were.
I was 19.
So, don't worry about the future. We're in good hands. So,
I was thinking about 19, where I am. 19, I've not passed the examination for university yet. I failed 3 times, but
I think it worked out.
I'm not good at schooling. Well, yeah, that's why I give confidence to a lot of young people in China. If Jack Ma can be successful, 80% of the people can be successful. People like her, we're jealous. But, well, equality, I would like to make a little bit technology helping, because yesterday I was joining the UN Women Conference about gender equality. And I think the first technology revolution happened 200 years ago in the UK, released the human body, the arm, stronger. The second technology revolution in the USA for energy, you can last long. But this technology revolution release the brain. So this century is not a competition who is stronger, whose muscle is stronger. It's who is smarter, who is soft, who can listen. It's the challenge of wisdom. So man and woman are equal. On the internet, you can never see he's a woman or a man. And on the internet, women can serve much better than men on the internet. And a man talking about a business, talking about numbers, competition, they make business very cold. Women, they make business very cozy, lifestyle, and interesting. 50%, more than 50% of our shop owners, more than 5 million shop owners are women. And people love that. This is a great thing. I see that this century, we see more and more women leaders, on the state leaders, the presidents. In the future, we're going to General Secretary of the United Nations should be a woman leader. And this is the great century for equality. And I feel excited about that.
Let me ask you, we're almost out of time, but one of the things that we haven't talked enough about here, and not just here, but generally, is whether the leapfrogging we saw with cell phones, which was instrumental in your phenomenal business success and which will make it possible for you at the appropriate time to do what you've done on a global scale, hitherto unimaginable in all of human history for anybody to have any of their own health data. We've seen examples, but not the kind of dramatic penetration we need with energy and clean energy and enough in a short enough time to avoid the worst consequences of climate change. So do you believe that, your country has done more than anybody else to try to put up solar panels, and some of your companies went broke because you overdid it, right? But beforehand, and you got to work out the phase out of the coal, the phase into the sun and all that. Meanwhile, Africa, which is growing like crazy because of the cell phone in no small measure, and has 6 of the fastest growing countries in the world, still has vast swaths of its land totally dark at night. Do you believe that it's possible for us to scale up with distributed solar power rather than centralized as quick as we did with a cell phone? And if so, and if that were your business, if you had to quit what you're doing today and start there, how would you do it? And how would you do it?
Lady first, I know that.
I'm such a huge believer in technology, and I think especially right now, we're at an incredible time in terms of new technology and the ability to apply technology in a scalable way toward solving some of these problems. So I would look at it in the context of some of the renewable solutions that we already have, and in the context of empowering, connecting individuals with access to those solutions, and in the context of creating markets around them. I think that there's real opportunity to actually create an ecosystem in which people can financially benefit from these solutions, and I think that's going to drive an adoption. I think in developing economies, there's a revenue stream associated with that, and the more we can turn even already some of the technologies that we have into markets, the more that we can fuel, I believe, local growth and individual engagement in beginning to adopt some of these solutions.
Just related to that, Jack, you answer it, and then I'll ask you one final question.
Yeah, I am a strong believer that technology can make world much better, because people say China economy is getting slower. I'm happy about the 7%, even 5%. Even 5% of the GDP of the number of China, of the second largest economy, is big enough. But you don't expect China to keep on growing 11%. Because like one human body, when you are 1.8 meters tall, you cannot keep on like a 10% grow every year. You have to grow the quality, your mind, the wisdom. So I think China needs new technology to solve these problems, and which today the data, the clean technology, all these things that China is supposed to do, if we keep on the tradition, the old ways, we'll go nowhere. This is why I feel excited, because people ask me, what is your dream now? Because I never thought I would be today. I can sit here talking to president. I'm like a guy, on the street, and like failed 3 times for university, 5 times for high key schools. I applied for 10 times in Harvard School, all rejected. I never thought, because of the technology, because the internet gave me this opportunity. So I'm thinking, when I retire, I don't want the Chinese people have a terrible water to drink, unsafe for food, and the money we make all spent in the hospital. That's disaster. So how we can using the technology to enable young people, the great chance of this world, don't worry about it. We got 1.4 billion people who were born in 1980s. They are the people of the internet times. They are going to have new ways to solve the world problems. The things you are worried about today, they can solve it. And human beings have these kind of worries for centuries. And young people can always solve it. And today, when you have a right direction, clean energy, the climate change, all these issues, they will be solved, and these are the great opportunities ahead of us.
Anything else?
I agree with that. I think the more we can enfranchise people, the more we can create ecosystems in which individuals are empowered, the more we give rights to individuals to be able to build businesses, to be able to pursue the economic benefit of technologies, the more you see these markets change.
Before they leave the stage, I want you to look at them. And I want you to think about the time we have had to spend here dealing with the refugee problems in Syria and Lebanon. Stand up, Elias. This is my friend Elias Bousab. He is the education minister in Lebanon. He's got to educate all these kids. And so he left a miracle that very much reflects the life